Bro, I told you. The one thing that you can't touch are the fucking treats. Nobody listens to me. I said this. Donald Trump came after the treats. He said the treatlerites will suffer. And lo and behold, you can't fuck up the bag.
And who are they blaming for what they are seeing as an economic downturn?
Yeah, okay. So obviously you had Joe Biden before you had Donald Trump. And of course, Donald Trump would say, Joe Biden left us in a horrible state and I have to help dig us out of it. All right. So let's take a look here. More responsible for the state of the economy or the economic state. In March, CBS News asked about inflation, and 38% said it was Joe Biden who was more responsible, compared to 34% who said Donald Trump. Let's jump forward to now, in the month of April. Look at this number, 54%.
Wait, 21% still say it's Biden's fault? Why? Did Biden hit Donald Trump with the mind laser beam? Like, am I misreading this data? Did they think that like Biden is responsible for Trump doing the tariff scheme?
Of Americans say that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's number has fallen from 38% to 21%. Donald Trump may try to blame Joe Biden for this, and maybe that was working a month ago in the month of March. But since the tariff war has begun, it's not working anymore. Americans are not buying what Donald Trump is selling them. They believe, the clear majority, 54%, that Donald Trump is more to blame for the state of the economy at this point than Joe Biden is, Jessica.
That is interesting to see how that evolves just in the last month, really.
Yeah.
How are they viewing tariffs?
Yeah. Okay. So obviously the big thing when it comes to the state of the economy right now for Donald Trump is tariffs. So let's take a look here. All right. The tariff plan, new tariffs on importing goods, oppose versus favor. You go back to January. Look at this. 48% said they favored these new tariffs, these Donald Trump tariffs, compared to 46% who opposed. Look at where we are now in the CBS News YouGov poll. A switcheroo, Jessica, a switcheroo. The clear majority, 58% of Americans oppose these new tariffs compared to just 42% who favor them. Again, this is part of the picture that we've seen throughout this presentation, right, Jessica? More and more people are turning against Donald Trump. Their views of the economy are getting worse. They are holding Donald Trump responsible. And when it comes to his signature issue, so far in his second term, tariffs.
Yeah. This is the meme. Who wants more American factories? Who wants to work in the American factories? Nope.
I mean, my goodness gracious, that trend line is ridiculously awful for Trump. The opposition number from 46 to 58 and the favor from 48 to 42. Americans have switched on a dime on the economy, on Donald Trump, in large part because of the tariffs, which they increasingly do not like.
And what's the biggest problem with Trump's plan for these people?
Well, I think it's the biggest problem that you hear our analysts say all the time is they don't know what the heck.
My uncle's blaming Biden that he will go out of business because of the tariffs. That's amazing. Your uncle is keep me posted on your uncle's activities. I love that.
Donald Trump is doing. It's his approach. I mean, take a look here. Trump's approach to tariffs and trade, that is the way he's going about it. Just 37% of Americans like it. Look at this number. 63%, nearly 2/3 dislike it. Among independents, Jessica, it's just...
Bro, I told you. The one thing that you can't touch are the fucking treats. Nobody listens to me. I said this. Donald Trump came after the treats. He said the treatlerites will suffer. And lo and behold, you can't fuck up the bag. You can't, in Felix's words, you can't molest the money, okay? And you can't touch the treats. You can't, I don't know. This is why I always laugh whenever people, 36K people listening, Lamau, this guy's a character, Lamau. We are all here listening. Look. I've been saying this was going to happen for fucking months since he started unveiling the tariff agenda. This is why I always laugh whenever someone tells me approval ratings of a particular issue, an issue that hasn't been solved yet, an issue that Americans haven't seen with their own two eyes, like an issue that Americans haven't experienced yet, or even feel like is real. When it's pure fantasy, when it's just a policy that a popular figure like Donald Trump is pushing for, then people can find themselves on board with it. But once it becomes a reality, everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. What do you mean? What the fuck? Why would you? I don't want to pay $3,000 for a Switch 2. What the fuck is this? This is why I always say, get the fuck out of here. Oh, this is a 2080 issue. It's like, yeah, no, it's not. Okay? It's not. It's a major problem with the Democrats that they don't actually actively present a counter narrative against these sorts of things to build up enough resentment so it doesn't even happen ahead of time. They did this with Medicare, or not Medicare for all. Sorry, some chatter was saying Medicare for all. They did this with immigration. Would this happen with Medicare for all as well? Certainly. The immediate period of instability that happens when Medicare for all is implemented would cause a lot of people to say, oh, I don't want this. But once the dust is settled, you would never be able to take that away. Okay? It would take decades and decades of austerity until people were open to privatization. And the greatest example I can give you is Social Security or congestion pricing in New York City. Thank you. Exactly. People fought hard against congestion pricing. People fought long and hard against congestion pricing. Then what did they do? Once it was implemented, people were like, never mind, this was actually awesome. This was a good thing. Okay? Same with Social Security. Social Security is very hard to take away. Very politically unpopular to take away. The problem is the elites know this. That's why they fight long and hard to ensure that there's never any sort of socialization when it comes to medicine. That's it. Republican policies in general, right-wing policies in general, revolve around breaking pre-existing systems or deregulation and destruction, which people think they like before it happens. When it does happen, they go, oh, fuck, I didn't like that. Left-wing policies, though, on the other hand, people might be resistant against, especially because there's a steady flow of propaganda showing you, telling you, lying to you that it's a bad thing if implemented. And there will be a little bit of instability in the interim once implemented. But in the long term, people like their social conditions, their material conditions improving, and will not allow you to take away the things that the government gives them. Okay? That's the major difference here.
28% of independents who like the way that Donald Trump is approaching tariffs and trade. And that's not much of a surprise because one day Donald Trump is saying one thing, the next day he's saying another. One day someone from his administration saying one thing, the next day that same exact person saying another. The message, simply put, is unclear. And it's the approach more than anything else, Jessica Dean, that the folks in the American public dislike about Donald Trump and his way that he's going about the tariffs and trade policy of the second Trump administration.
Even the Affordable Care Act, exactly. Good luck trying to take away the two anti-capitalist provisions baked into Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Okay, pre-existing conditions and forcing insurers to provide family care until the age of 26. Those are the two anti-capitalist provisions inside of Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, which was ultimately a right-wing market-based solution and a hurdle against socialized medicine overall. You won't be able to take those away easily. I mean, Americans are very stupid, so maybe you can convince them. Probably not, though. Seemingly, it's been hard to tackle. Donald Trump tried to tackle it last time around, was not able to do so, and backed away from it ultimately. So
very interesting. And then overall, how does this affect his approval rating?
Yeah, okay. So we talk about the economy, right? But does the economy, the way people feel about the economy, equal the way they feel about Donald Trump overall? Because if it doesn't, if these two paths don't cross, then these numbers don't mean anything.
Right.
But let's take a look right here. Donald Trump's net approval rating. In early February, according to CBS News, look at that, it was +6. Late February, +2. March, 0, even approval, disapproval. Look at where we are now, -6 points. He's underwater for the first time in the CBS News YouGov poll, at least in his second term. Again, it's the trend line that's so important here, and the trend line and the American people are turning against Donald Trump. And that's why I said at the beginning, Jessica, that this, in my mind, is the worst poll that Trump has received in his second term so far.
All right, Harry Enton, as always, with the numbers there. Thank you so much.
The fact that it's only -6 is also another indication of Trump's overall popularity, the cult-like fervor surrounding his person, and how stupid Americans have become. Because I don't think Biden would be able to retain only 6%, or not 6%, sorry, -6% net approval if he were to implement actions such as this one. I feel like they'd assassinate him. You know, I mean, first time he's like, "Oh, I'm going to do tariffs, Jack." He'd be packed up. They would shove him into a locker and replace him with a body double. Pronto.
So much.
So this week begins with the country and the global economy caught in the grip of uncertainty. If that sounds familiar, it is. Since that
He's actually still winning on the trans athlete narrative. A lot of leftists feel right wing by siding with him. Yeah, I think people are very stupid. If you spend any time saying, yeah, we got to eliminate transgender athletes from competitive sports, you are the dumbest person on the planet. Like, how do you not understand that these two things go hand in hand? Okay? It's this stuff that's impactful. The trade war, the unnecessary trade war that Trump implemented, that is ruining your future, or not tackling the cost of living crisis that he ran on and successfully won on. Anyone that fucking thinks that the real issue in America is like the 3 transgender athletes or whatever is the biggest dumbass of all time. I'm sorry, I can't have a serious conversation with a person like that. Like, you're so stupid.
has